In-camera editing. In-camera editing refers to a technique where the cinematographer shoots scenes in a strict and chronological order. Therefore, the film is already complete when it comes to the editing process. It is a popular filming technique amongst students who may lack the editing skills, and this is particularly due to its simplicity as well as the money and time it saves from the editing process. Notable directors such as Alfred Hitchcock and Jean-Luc Godard are known to have used this technique in films such as Breathless and Rope. This is the ending to the 1960s film Breathless by Jean-Luc Godard, which was filmed using the in-camera editing technique, as it was a simple and effective technique which also saved massive amount of money during the production process, as reels of film were very expensive. Thus, by meticulously sticking to a chronological shooting schedule, you cut back the amount having to be spent on film reels, thus saving you valuable amounts of money. Therefore, during times where film was shot on reels, this was a very popular technique. However, in this day and age, when digital filmmaking is in its prime, it is not a highly popular technique, as it limits the shots that you can take and means that any scenes that are shot that are of an undesired quality may be subject to costly reshooting, resulting in a loss of both money and time.
Qu'est-ce que c'est dégueulasse?
Following the action refers to the action of the camera following the motions of the character and/or the subject of the scene. It is usually used in multi-camera production to produce action shots with more depth. Therefore, it is a type of shot most commonly associated with more modern films. This technique can be achieved through multiple different shot types, such as panning, tracking, and tilting. This is commonly used in action films and horror films, where there are big action scenes, such as in Rope, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, James Bond, and many more.
Go, I got this!
I make an LZ 2300 block of Virginia Avenue, rendezvous 2 minutes.
As you can see, this film was shot using multiple different cameras. This is to give the audience multiple different angles of the action when following the characters through the scene. It also incorporates cross-cutting to cut between the two main characters, Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier, and Captain America, during their search for each other through the busy streets. This is effective as it keeps the audience engaged and wondering what the other is doing when they can't see them. Multiple points of view. Multiple points of view. This refers to the technique of using multiple cameras to shoot a scene, each covering different angles so as to cover all the characters, i.e. it follows the action from each of the characters' perspectives. This is notably used in the silent film from 1927 called Napoleon, where director Abel Gance wrapped a camera and its lens with sponge so the actors could punch the camera and at the camera during the fist fight in the snowball fight scene. In this short clip of the fight, you can see, particularly at 6 seconds in, the use of a handheld camera incorporated with the multiple points of view of the other boys involved in the fight, as well as the quick cuts to create an effective montage of a large-scale snowball battle. This is unique and innovative of the time, as during the 1920s, films were shot on very heavy and very large cameras. So creating this impression/scene would have been very expensive as well as highly challenging. Shot variation. Shot variation is the use of multiple different shot types throughout a scene. This can include a huge range of shots, including mid-close-ups, a close-up, a wide shot, track, which is where the base of the camera moves forwards or backwards, a crab, where the base of the camera moves side to side, a pan, when the camera itself moves side to side, or a tilt when the camera moves up and down, and many more. Each shot has a specific purpose within the scene, in order to have a particular effect on the audience at that moment. This is a particularly effective technique to use when portraying the switch of power between characters or when establishing the scene/setting. Manipulation of diegetic time and space. Manipulation of diegetic time and space. This technique is where the editor alters the speed of the film to compact a long period of time into a short period of time. This can be hours, days, months, weeks, or years. This is a useful technique as it can pack a lot of footage into a short period of time. However, this could be confusing as it could be an overload of information. This technique is most commonly used in montage shots. For example, training scenes in action films such as Kick-Ass.
And you'll do anything I say.
Anything.
Hit me.
You're a 15-year-old girl. What the hell?
Act like a bitch, get slapped like a bitch. Oh, God damn.
Mindy beat me like morning wood every day for 3 weeks.
Come on, guard up. Left, right, guard up.
Even with my damaged nerve endings, it hurt like hell. In a weird way, I kind of liked it. It gave me a sense of purpose.
What happened to your face?
Nothing. Like we were driving towards something.
Yeah! Oh, that's amazing!
All the other people putting on masks were just playing superhero.
We were training to really do it. I couldn't tell my girlfriend Katie or Marty and Todd, but I didn't care. We're having too much fun.
Left, right, left. Yeah.
Our own superhero team. It was gonna be balls.
This scene shows Mindy agreeing to train Dave. It then goes on to condensing the training time down into a montage scene, reducing the amount of training showed in the film, yet obviously showing that the time is flowing through the changing costume of Dave as well as his skills clearly developing. This montage scene is particularly effective as it incorporates the use of the non-diegetic sound of Dave narrating the entire scene, keeping the audience engaged and clearly showing what is happening so as not to make it confusing, as some uses of this technique can be. Film and video over time. Over time, film and video has evolved through the advances in technology as well as the audience expectations. The earliest filmmakers feared that cutting and splicing different shots together would confuse the audience members, but as time went by, they realised that this could enable them to tell more complex storylines through editing. Rescued by Rover, 1904 British film. In this short film from 1904, you get a glimpse at some of the primitive editing techniques. For example, short jump cuts to transition between locations, as well as a few cuts where more than one shot was needed, helping to tell the tale of a woman's baby being taken and the dog, presumably Rover, saving the day by finding the child. Key filmmakers who contributed to the evolution of editing include D.W. Griffith, who did not invent any of the editing techniques he used. He, however, made them more emotionally and thematically significant. This influenced the Soviet director, Sergei Einstein, to develop a technique he named the montage, which is putting together a number of shots more or less quickly to point out a specific moral or idea. Editing today. The past 20 years have seen the introduction of digital editing. This makes editing quicker and cleaner than before. However, key techniques such as the montage, jump cuts and the 180-degree rule are very much still in use. However, combined with much more modern techniques such as the use of special effects. Due to new software such as Premiere Pro, Final Cut Pro 7 and OneShare Filmora, essentially anyone can edit videos or films from home. Analog editing. Analog editing was a very time-consuming process, which involved the use of a diagonal splicing box and a razor blade. The film would be cut where necessary and then taped back together. This would be repeated until the film was complete. This technique was used in the first films to be created, including the 1895 film Exiting the Factory and the 1902 film Le Voyage dans la Lune, or A Trip to the Moon. Comparing analog editing to digital editing in today's day and age shows there to be no competition. Digital editing is much quicker and simpler and gives a much larger creative freedom for things such as special effects like CGI. And in its day and age, analog editing would have taken a very, very large portion of time and would have taken someone with much more skill so as to cut smoothly. Engaging the viewer. Engaging the viewer is where the editor makes certain changes to the film in order to engage the audience. There are many ways to achieve this, including shooting scenes with multiple different shot types, filmed in an order which is aesthetically pleasing to look at and thus engaging. This includes close-ups, medium shots and reaction shots. Another way to keep the audience engaged is to have a character addressing them directly. For example, through the use of a rhetorical question. This is also known as breaking the fourth wall. The fourth wall is an imaginary wall between the audience and the action on stage or in a film, where the characters are unaware that they are in a production and the audience believes they are watching a real-life scenario.
It's sad when a mother has to speak the words that condemn her own son, but I couldn't allow them to believe that I would commit murder. They'll put him away now, as I should have, years ago. He was always bad, and in the end he intended to tell them I killed those girls and that man, as if I could do anything except just sit and stare, like one of his stuffed birds. Well, they know I can't even move a finger, and I won't. I'll just sit here and be quiet, just in case they do suspect me. They're probably watching me. Well, let them. Let them see what kind of a person I am. I'm not even gonna swat that fly. I hope they are watching. They'll see. They'll see, and they'll know, and they'll say, why, she wouldn't even harm a fly.
An iconic example of this comes at the end of Hitchcock's 1960s film Psycho, where the audience is aware of Norman's disturbing secrets. Therefore, as he looks directly down the camera lens, as if he's looking straight into the eyes of the audience, and smiles psychotically, it is disconcerting and sends chills into the audience. A perfect ending to an innovative of its time film. Another iconic example of breaking the fourth wall is at the end of the 1903 film The Great Train Robbery, where the man shoots at the audience, scaring many viewers as they believed that they were actually being shot at. Development of drama. Development of drama is the way the film is edited to determine the intensity of the shots in the film. This depends on a few elements such as camera shots. Drama productions tend to use a lot of reaction shots, showing how each of the characters react to the situation that they find themselves in. The use of long-winded shots are also used frequently in order to build up tension and hence creating a sense of danger. Developing drama plays with emotions of how characters react after the drama element has taken place. An example of developing the drama is in the film The Lovely Bones. The drama element of the film is the murder of the character Susie. You see this evolve in the beginning of the film, yet the audience is aware the family don't know what's happened to their daughter. The film focuses on the aftermath of the murder and the family's desperate measures to find the murderer, or to find Susie. To develop the drama, there are a lot of reaction shots to intensify the emotional aspect of the film, and they're used to show the torture that the family is going through, knowing that they may never find their daughter. Therefore, it's the use of emotion and build-up of the events that develop the drama and therefore the plot of the film. Relationship to genre. Different genres in film use different techniques and conventions to highlight the genre. These techniques put together in certain ways to reflect their genre, change the way the audience thinks about the story, and are used to capture the audience and draw them in. For example, in horror films, fast-paced editing is used to build up tension, causing the audience to become nervous towards what is going to happen. In horror films, the most common shot to indict fear is a low shot when used to show one character's dominance over another's, often highlighting emotions such as inferiority, fear, and intimidation. Other common shot types include high shots and close-ups. These are used to signify weakness, usually that of the victims.
I just want to tell you something.
What do you want to tell me?
You were my girl.
I love you, Jimmy.
What is that?
It's okay, there's nothing here. I haven't heard a dog bark or a car pass. Nothing.
There's someone out there.
Hello?
What is it?
It's my phone.
Oh my god.
We gotta get out of here. Then open the door, and I just want you to run, okay?
Why are you doing this to us?
Because you were home.
An effective example of this is in the trailer for The Strangers. We see the victims tormented by the three strangers wearing doll-like masks. The victims live in the middle of nowhere, supposedly, and the tormentors are leading them on to believe that they were going insane before unleashing what can only be described as hell upon the victims. The close-up and handheld shots following the victims throughout highlight fear and build up the tension throughout the film, creating motivation. In a film or television program, creating motivation plays a large aspect in keeping your target audience interested in your product. When editing footage together, the editor has to look for and at the motivation for their cuts, as this affects how the audience feels in relation to the film or television program. Cutting between scenes and/or characters will alter how the audience feels toward the film. Each cut will change how the audience reacts to the scene, either positively or negatively.
No sign of him, my lord.
I thought he would come.
Harry? No! What are you doing here?
Harry Potter. The boy who lived. Come to die.
A good example of this is in the Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, where Harry arrives in the Forbidden Forest to meet Voldemort. The constant switch between the characters, other than Harry's perspectives, leaves the audience with an uneasy and anxious feeling towards Harry's safety, as their concerns are all concentrated on Harry. Another importance when editing is to make sure the cuts are made at an appropriate time in order to make sure the narrative follows a natural path to ensure the story progresses and develops over time. For example, the introductions of new characters. This will be done in different ways depending on the genre of the film. For example, in a romantic genre such as a rom-com, the audience will be made to feel sympathy towards the main character. Therefore, the cuts used need to be made in a way that lets the audience learn more about the character. Sound is also very important during editing, as certain sounds can be distracting from the main action or may not fit the scene. However, sound can be used to keep the audience engaged or intrigued. In the plot, for example, if there is a loud or explosive sound, the character may look away, cutting so as to follow this action will intrigue the audience. Combining shots into sequences. This is the process of placing shots together in order to make them flow into each other. This is done when the shots are individually edited. Placing them into a sequence where the fluidity of the sequences is determined by the quality of the editing. The editing needs to be almost invisible to the audience, as otherwise it would ruin the viewing experience. An easy way to do this from home is through the use of software such as Adobe Premiere Pro or Final Cut Pro.
It is absolutely outrageous.
Calm yourself, and just listen to me.
No, you listen. Listen to me, please. This so-called doctor paraded me around my own neighborhood like some kind of a derelict mother who didn't even know her own son.
And what was his findings?
He found what he expected to find, which you obviously told him he would find.
Mrs. Cole.
But that's not...
That's nothing to be embarrassed about.
That I was embarrassed is not the issue. The point is that you are wasting time when you should be looking for my son.
But the report is final, Mrs. Collins.
Well, then I want to receive the report so I can refute it before it goes to anyone else.
Fine.
Yes. Good day.
You finished? Can I go to my room now?
Yes.
Good night, Mommy.
Stop saying that! Stop saying that! I'm not your mother! I want my son back! You're not my son! I want my son back! I want my son back! Damn you! I want my son back.
A good example of this technique is in the film Challenging, where the editor had to understand where the sympathy was needed to be given, so he had to pick shots in order to make the audience feel the sympathy towards the character. In this film, the grief-stricken mother, played by Angelina Jolie, ends up taking on the LAPD, Los Angeles Police Department, when they try and pass off another child as her lost child. In this scene, the audience is aware that the other child is not hers, and the camera shots and editing techniques picked allow the audience to fully sympathise with Jolie's character. Creating pace. When editing a film, creating pace is where the editor speeds up or slows down certain parts of the film. This will have an effect on how the audience views the film, leading them to understand it in different ways. A fast pace is often used in action films, due to there often being some sort of chase scene or fight scene, where a fast pace is necessary. For example, in the film Hit and Run, where the young couple are attempting to outrun the gang hunting them down.
I'm following you, okay? If he goes all psycho and shit on you, give me some kind of hand signal, okay? Other thing we call a funky 6 16 corners. Yeah, baby, you heard me right. The funk is 16 corners. We're gonna tighten up on this music a little bit here. Come on in there, horns. Ow! Good God, sound pretty good. Do it again. Do it again. Right here we had that backwards foot. Hey, hey, baby, I got to groove 3 times. Hold on. And right here's another going to the funky 16 corner. That's funky more to your left, funky more to the right, funky more to the back, funky more to the front. Hey, hey, I got to groove.
To create this fast pace, shots need to be cut quickly, moving between shots taken from different angles to create a sense of rhythm and pace. A slow pace is often found in the drama or romance genre, allowing the audience to understand the scenes and connect with the characters on a more personal level without distractions brought by the quick cuts. Another genre that uses this slow pacing well is the thriller genre. This is often to create the atmosphere desired, such as in the 2001 film The Pledge. Seamless. Seamless editing is editing in a way so as not to call attention to the shots, i.e. they should be invisible to the eye. In today's day and age, with advances in editing software, this is much easier. Can be distracting to an audience. Seamless editing serves to tell the story and not to show off techniques the editor can come up with. This began in the early 20th century with pioneers in editing such as Sergei Einstein. Continuity editing. Continuity is the impression the audience has that the action unfolds with spatio-temporal consistency and is used to establish a logical coherence between shots. This can be temporal continuity or spatial continuity. For each of these, specific techniques can work either for or against the sense of continuity. For example, using continuous diegetic sound, this will work to ensure continuity, but the use of ellipses, a break in the natural time continuity, as it's implied in the film's story, will work against continuity. A big example of a break in continuity, or a mistake in continuity, is in Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, where there are 2 separate nightmare scenes. One is after Harry and Seamus have a small altercation in the Gryffindor common room. After this, there are several shots of Harry lying in a bed, wearing a short-sleeved, crew-cut t-shirt. When he is suddenly awakened from his dream, however, he is wearing a buttoned-up Henley t-shirt. It becomes apparent later in the film that this in fact is taken from the second nightmare scene, where Harry awakes from a nightmare after seeing Arthur Weasley attacked by a snake, and thus breaks the natural time continuity implied by the film, as Harry would have had to have travelled back in time to be wearing that t-shirt. Montage. Montage is a technique where a series of short shots are edited together into a sequence to condense space, time, and the information supplied to the audience. Action.
We already
Information
talked about montage.
I know, but I have to talk about it again.
Why?
I don't know. To condense space, time, and the information supplied to the audience. Action films use this a lot to condense the training of the heroes down into a shorter amount of time. For example, in the Kick-Ass films.
Hit me.
You're a 15-year-old girl. What the hell?
Act like a bitch, get slapped like a bitch.
Oh, God.
Mindy beat me like morning wood every day for 3 weeks.
Come on, guard up. That's right. Guard up.
Even with my damaged nerve endings, it hurt like hell. In a weird way, I kind of liked it. It gave me a sense of purpose.
What happened to your face?
Nothing. Like we were driving towards something.
Yeah! Oh, that's amazing!
All the other people putting on masks were just playing superhero.
We were training to really do it. I couldn't tell my girlfriend Katie or Marty and Todd, but I didn't care. We're having too much fun. Our own superhero team.
Reducing the training time is arguably more engaging for the audience, as it leaves more time for the large, exciting action scenes later in the film. It is also more engaging, as the audience can see a distinct improvement in the characters' abilities over a short period of time. Parallel editing or cross-cutting. This is a technique of alternating between two or more scenes, which are often happening simultaneously, however in different locations.
So powerful, so beautiful. Precious? Precious?
Down here, you sack of shit!
Put her in that bucket.
Now you get me a telephone and lower it down here now!
Precious. Darling, how are you all right?
She's in a lot of pain, mister. She needs a vet. She broke her leg on the way down. I know it. She's been licking it.
Hey, don't you hurt my dog!
Don't you make me hurt your dog!
Hey, you don't know what pain is!
I'm gonna do it, mister!
Hey, I'm coming. We're going in.
Good afternoon. Sorry to bother you. I'm looking for Mrs. Lippman's family.
No, Lippmans don't live here anymore.
Excuse me, sir. I really need to speak with you.
What's the problem, officer?
Well, I'm investigating the death of Frederica Bimmel.
There's no one here, Jack. Clarice.
The Silence of the Lambs ending uses a particularly effective use of cross-cutting, as it is set up so as to make the audience believe the FBI is going to catch the killer. However, it is revealed as the scene progresses that Clarice is actually at the home of the murderer, and the FBI are at the home of an innocent man. This use of cross-cutting is used to build up tension to a climax where Crawford realises how much danger Clarice is in and how wrong the FBI have been. The 180-degree rule. The 180-degree rule is like a golden rule for film and shouldn't be broken unless for special effect. It states that the camera should remain in the same side of an imaginary line, which runs perpendicular to the camera viewpoint, and helps to keep the continuity of the film. If the rule is broken, it usually leads to confusion for the audience, especially in chase scenes or conversations. As you can see, the protagonist is always travelling from left to right, and the antagonist is often moving from right to left, so it's easy for the audience to tell that they are running towards each other. Splicing. Splicing is a technique of physically joining pieces of film together. This can be done to both negative and positive film, and is done using a machine called a splicer. There are 3 different types of splicers: the tape splicer, the cement splicer, and the ultrasonic splicer. Tape splicers. These join film using clear tape and work with any type of film. The trick to using the apparatus is to firmly press down on the tape to activate the glue. Cement splicers. Cement splicers join pieces of film together using glue. The film is melted and essentially welded together to form an invisible but permanent bond. They are used with negative film and are not to be used on work prints, as these have constant changes. One downside to cement splicers is that they will not work on mylar or polyester-based films. Ultrasonic splicers. These are used with mylar and polyester-based films and are electronically run and fuse 2 pieces of film together. Transitions. A transition is essentially the way 2 shots are joined together. It is important to understand that overusing these transitions is a sign of an amateur. When used effectively, transitions help bridge together shots to produce a film with a better flow. Examples include the dissolve, where one clip dissolves or fades into the next, or a wipe. This is like a dissolve, however, it is used to draw attention to the dissolve. For example, an iris wipe. This is often used in silent films, where there is a small circle on the screen, which gets either smaller and smaller and smaller, or larger and larger and larger. A cutaway. In basic terms, this is where the filmmaker is moving from action to something else, and then often coming back to the action.
How you doing? Listen, I'm sorry to disturb you at work, but I'm not feeling very well today, and I was wondering if it might be possible for my sister to bring home any assignments for my classes that I might need. Have a nice day.
Cutaways are often used to cut out boring shots or to add some action to the sequence, hence changing the pace of the footage. Shot reverse shot. This is another continuity editing technique used in conversations or when actors are looking at each other or objects. There is a shot showing what the character is looking at, which is followed by a reversed angle shot of the character or the other character looking at them. This often works hand in hand with the 180-degree rule, so as not to disturb the audience's sense of location. For example,
The board members. You killed them.
We killed them.
We?
Remember? Your little accident in the laboratory? Performance enhancers. Bingo. Me, your greatest creation. Bringing you what you've always wanted. Power beyond your wildest dreams, and it's only the beginning. There's only one who can stop us. Or imagine if he joined us.
Providing or withholding information. This is where the editor tries to make the narrative more dramatic by giving or taking away information from the audience. Good examples of this often fall under the subgenre of crime drama or crime thriller. For example, in the popular television show Law and Order.
Who's the dead guy?
David Ralston. Single entrance wound, upper torso.
Who called it in?
Neighbor knocked, complaining about a loud TV. Nobody answered. He dialed 911.
That wouldn't happen to be the murder weapon you got in your hand there, would it?
His gun's fully loaded, hasn't been fired. Found it lying next to the body.
Any signs of a break-in?
No. Nothing seems to be missing.
So you got a wife? A roommate?
Lives here with his brother who wasn't home tonight. Aside from that, the next of kin is the mother, Mrs. Fay Ann Ralston. Lives on Eastern in Canton.
Is he talking to you?
Where there is a crime, often a murder, at the very beginning of the show, and throughout the show the audience must go on a journey with the characters to find the murderer, or the criminal. This keeps the audience engaged and on the edge, wondering who did the crime. Editing rhythm. This is where the editors try and keep the pace of the film matching the action occurring in the film. This can also be dictated by the music. For example, in this sequence from Marie Antoinette, where the only connections between the shots is arguably the song I Want Candy, as well as a few graphic matches. It highlights the director, Coppola's, style of weaving period decadence and frivolity with youthful exuberance. Cutting to soundtrack. This is the technique where each cut is motivated by the music in the background. For example, in a funeral scene would have a sad song in the background, whereas a car chase would have a fast-paced music. For example, throughout the Fast and Furious films.
Just when you didn't think it could get any better, huh?